Hi guys, it's Dale with the insurance. Today we're going to talk about an article that's about a topic that's overlooked, but it's really important. The title of the article is Homeowners, Liability Insurance Exclusions. What's not in your policy, right? So right off the bat, and actually this pertains to all insurance policies, not just homeowners. It's a section that's in the back of your policy. Most people don't read their policy, but hopefully you're one that does. And even if you don't, if you read one section, read this section, right? Because it's crucial. You don't want to think you're covered for something, come to find out when the rubber meets the road and you're looking for coverage, you're looking to replace an item, it's not covered, right? So do the work up front so that you're not left kind of holding the bag when a loss actually happens, right? Like I said, it's often overlooked. In particular, homeowners insurance exclusion and limitation sections are very broad, very general, which makes sense. You've got to think about it kind of from a bird's eye view, right? More generally, these sections were created and crafted very carefully, right, by a team of lawyers for the main benefit of the carrier, right? To get out of those risks that the data has shown they lose money on, right? So when you read it, keep that in mind, read it very carefully, and if there's anything that you say, I'm not sure if I'm covered there, first and foremost, try to get clarification with your underwriter. And when doing that, I know the first thing you may want to do is pick up the phone, but try to get something in writing so that it explicitly states that you're covered for such a circumstance. Short of that, you need to proactively address it through actually adding a rider or an endorsement to your policy, whereby you understand it explicitly states that this instance is covered or this item is covered, or go out and find a monoline policy, right? An extra policy that covers this situation in particular, right? Common exclusions, especially for homeowners, are, the things that are normal are kind of like your flood, your mudslide, your sewage backup, your quake. Those are common, but some people may think that they're covered for it, go to their limitations and exclusion sections and see that they're not. In such cases, if you're in a flood zone, if you're in a quake zone, you need to go out and get separate coverage some of these carriers have coverage that you can add on for an extra fee. But you need to go out and get additional coverage for these risks in particular, okay? Other exclusions that aren't so prevalent and may be hidden are, and not so intuitive, are the exclusion for business equipment, right? So if you have a home office, you have a ton of equipment that you use to run your business, it's not going to be covered under your homeowner's policy, right? Artwork, right? If you have a unique jewelry collection or something like that, it may be excluded, but the coverage may also be very small, $1,000, $2,500, right? Whereas your artwork is worth millions of dollars, right? These are things. Now that's not an exclusion per se. But if you're getting 1% of the value of the item, should a loss occur, that coverage isn't very valuable, isn't very substantial to you. Those are also things to watch out for because they will play with the limits in which they provide you coverage for, right? And in such instances, you need to address it proactively. Say, hey, yes, I know this is covered. In the example of artwork, I know this is covered, but I need coverage for $1 million worth of artwork, right? And you can either change that through a rider or an endorsement with your policy, or get a monoline floater that covers your artwork or your jewelry or your furs, whatever you have of substantial value, on its own, in addition to your homeowner's policy, right? Once again, this is a section that's often overlooked. It's vital that you know what's excluded. You don't want to be paying money for a policy when it's kind of a false sense of security and coverage. So you went ahead and paid for it. That's great that you believe you have coverage. Just go ahead and read this section to understand what you actually are covered for. You'll thank us in the end if you ever, hopefully knock on wood that you don't, but if you ever suffer a loss. So guys, hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you next week.